Hey guys, thanks for joining me this week on For All Things Lexington. It's the only show dedicated to Lexington, South Carolina. Here, you'll hear me talk to people, groups, bands, and organizations about where to go, what to do, and who's who in and all around our beautiful Lake Murray. I'm your host, Angela Barrett, and this is For All Things Lexington. Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. Today I have Paulette Crichon. Did I say it right? Because everybody knows I am very good at mutilating a name. She is the founder of Cancer of Many Colors Foundation. Correct. So tell us first what Cancer of Many Colors is. What do you do?
Well, what we do is that we raise funds for cancer patients that are active in treatment and help them with their basic living expenses, meaning mortgage, utilities, and all that we take for granted that we do every day. Most of the patients that are being treated cannot work, and so that affects their home life, their families. So what we do is help them with that.
Yeah.
You know, it goes through a social worker, and the social worker applies, and then from there, if it's a Dominion a bill, then we pay Dominion.
Yes,
that's how we do it.
Gotcha. And so this is tell me how you got the name, how you came up with the name.
Okay. So I'm a breast and lung cancer survivor, and so my dad passed away in 1981 with breast cancer. So you kind of, stay checked, and you want to make sure everything's good. So I was living in Atlanta, and so I moved back to spend some time with my family. And my brother lived in Lexington, my other brother in Spartanburg, and my mom lived in Chester, where I'm from. And so 4 months later, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and that was in 2005. So they did a genetic testing and said, yes, you're predisposed with BRCA2. So they tested my brothers. My brother Jay was also predisposed. My brother Richard was not. So in 2005, 2006, Richard was diagnosed with leukemia. 3 months later, Jay was diagnosed with throat cancer. Richard passed in 2007. Jay developed bile duct cancer in 2009, and he passed. And then that's when I was diagnosed with lung cancer in 2011. I still don't get all of it because it's just, you'll never understand it with all the things that happen in life and why do they happen. So I wanted to do something to help in some way. So my brother Richard was more concerned about basic living and how was he going to be able to manage all that. And I told him, I said, don't worry about it. I'll do some fundraising. We'll get this. If you get to Charleston, and we'll get it done. Don't worry about it. And so he passed. So I took all of that emotion and grief and I gave it back to the community. So what was I going to call it? I said Cancer of Many Colors, because there are 5 different cancers in my immediate family, and the ribbons represent that type of cancer. So it's Cancer of Many Colors.
Yeah, I like that, because breast cancer is pink, lung cancer is white.
Yeah.
Help me out. Leukemia.
Oh boy, this is kind of tough. Bile duct is green. I mean,
Yeah.
If you look online, you can see and pull it up. You can see there's so many. And it seems like they get a handle on one and then a new one comes up.
Oh, yeah. True.
And then some overlap, like with Jay having throat cancer, then bile duct cancer, and each one is a different color.
Sure.
Though.
Well, I love the name, and I think it absolutely sums up what you were trying to say. I do. I think that's great.
Yeah.
So let's first talk about how individuals can, I guess, apply or get help from you. What's the process or the?
Well, it's when they're in treatment, usually when they are diagnosed and they are in treatment, everybody has a social worker or a caseworker that's assigned to them. A lot of people who are lucky or who have insurance, and there's a lot of people that have insurance that still needs help. They go to their caseworker and they probably express to them they are looking for some additional or some help to pay for their utilities or whatever it is their needs are. The caseworker either goes back to their, whether it be LMC, SCOA, MUSC, Prisma, Levine, McLeod, Danifer, we work with all of them. And this is where our patients come from, right? They may go back to their foundation. Foundation says, hey, I'm going to give you, we'll help them. But again, treatment lasts a long time, during months.
Right.
So then they apply to us. And it has to be through a caseworker. It has to be through an application. And then and it's a bill, whatever it is that they're wanting. And then we look at it and then we decide, yes, we'll prove it. And then it's paid directly to the service provider. So it goes through a caseworker that contacts us. So we don't really talk to the patients, right? We talk strict because we need that caseworker to be able to support that.
Right. And I know that the foundation itself is physically here in Lexington, South Carolina, and you and I are sitting in Lexington, South Carolina. But this is statewide.
Correct.
Okay.
One of the visions I had was that when I started here, when Jay passed away and I started, it takes a long time to be able to get awareness out there. The Lexington High School Students in Action, they got involved, because they were trying to support a program that the kids were involved in. And what was it that they wanted to support? The kids did. What touched somebody? It was cancer. So that awareness has blown up. I can't say enough about them. And then I've always wanted, it was needed across the state.
Right.
Because we even have people in different states that call us that need support, but we can't do that. We are just in South Carolina. So when Levine Cancer Institute was trying to find some support for the South Carolina, that door opened and that door opened and that door, and we said, okay, this is it. We're just going to go straight.
Yeah.
Straight across.
Now, when did you start this foundation?
I applied in 2014, and then probably or really about 2018 is when the applicants started coming in, because it takes you a while to build your, the foundation.
Sure.
And it takes finding folks and volunteers and that sort of thing. And I'm still doing that.
Right.
Still trying to find folks to be on the board. I'm still trying to find volunteers, because when you start moving across the state, then you have a lot of, believe it or not, for small foundations, a lot of money going out. So you have to bring money in.
Right. A lot of moving parts at that point.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts.
Right. I understand.
Yeah.
So how many people at this point, at the history, would you say that you've helped?
Probably up to 500. That's a lot for a small foundation.
Right.
And then you've got when you say that, then you know that you're helping their families as well.
Right.
Because if they're the breadwinner and they're the ones that bring home the money and they can't work, or they get an FMLA is running out, or, or they're waiting on something from the state to give them some hope that, right, they'll get some additional income. So that affects everybody. It affects all their families. So I would say we're doing, and they're still coming in every day. I mean, yeah. I get them every day.
Yeah. How many applicants do you think you get? I mean, you've been able to help 500. I guess there's been
2018, since 2018.
Uh-huh.
So we have doubled up since this past year.
Uh-huh.
It could be, I came in, I just wrote 10 checks.
Right.
Just this week.
Oh, yeah, because you just got back from Italy.
I just got back from Italy.
I'm so jealous. I did see the pictures. Y'all had so much fun.
Yeah.
It's on my bucket list. It's on my bucket list.
I need to go.
I know.
And so you can been over at 500, but there are applicants, I guess, that you can't help everyone. So
No.
we all feel horrible when that happens, but you just can't. And it's a bit, you have to run it like a business, even though it's a nonprofit foundation. How can what can people do other than, I know donate money, and we'll talk about that, but other than an awareness, we'll talk about that. Out of the box, how do people help?
Well, that's a tough question because those are the two things that you look for.
Right.
Again, we're not involved with the patient themselves. And
Sure.
And then all the foundations or the treatment centers, they have their own means of people helping their patients, so they have those outsiders that they have to go through strict regulations.
Sure.
Them. So ours would be the awareness part, to really tap into some of their family members or attend the event, support the sponsorships. And I can't really think at the top of my head right this minute that anything else that would be
right.
I
noticed on the website about volunteers. What do volunteers for cancer of any color, what do they do?
Well, like I'm going to need some volunteers for the golf tournament.
Right.
So what we would do is say, we need somebody to set up in the morning and then probably break down in the afternoon. And then you've got a lull in between, golfers, it's about 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So we give them about 4 hours. And then we need to get off the golf course as quick as possible. So that's volunteering there at that tournament. And then we used to have some other, before COVID came in, like a fashion show.
Right.
And then that had a lot of moving parts to it. So we really didn't start again with that. But again, it's an event. And again, it's Midlands Gives. We could have used a lot of help with Midlands Gives. And that, again, is spreading the word and the awareness and what do we do and how do we help those people. And people who have been touched by cancer,
right,
get it.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, like you said, there are lots of people who have insurance, but that doesn't mean that they don't need help with the day-to-day.
Oh, my gosh. I just heard on the TV, where 50% of the Americans don't have the money put back,
right,
for things like this.
Oh, right.
And so they're paycheck to paycheck. And so it doesn't mean that they can't work. It just means that they probably have just over their means,
Right.
So I've had that. I've had them. I've had teachers. I've had people who can't pay their truck payment because of the fact, the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want us to talk, because I know the golf tournament's coming up, but tell me a little more about the Midlands Gives. What is that?
Midlands Gives is a one-day event for nonprofits by Central Carolina Central Community Foundation. They're the ones that started it. And so, like this year, it's I think we had up to 600 nonprofits. So you have to have a 501c3 to participate.
Sure.
And then they advertise the nonprofit in that one day. I think that one day event was May the 7th. It's always like the first Tuesday, I think, in the May of every year. So what you do is you rally.
Yeah.
That's what you do. We go to the brew pub. I mean, the Old Nell Brew Pub, that's where we rally, right? And they're very supportive of cancer of many colors. So, and it's really not what people think it's like. It's expensive. It's like a $10 donation.
Sure.
And then they have it set up that if you win some of these, Aflac might, if you're the winner, so you're getting ready to rally and you're trying to go, okay, we got to get it, we got to get it, we got to get it.
Right.
And like our power hour could be 6 to 7. If we win it, Aflac might give us $2,000.
Right.
So it's camaraderie. It's everybody getting together and say, hey, and you can do, like for me, if I was going to support somebody and only had X amount of dollars, I'll say I'll give $10 to Cancer Many Colors. I'll give $10 to somebody else. So here,
Right.
so you kind of spread the love, I guess.
Yeah.
In a sense, yeah.
So you have a big event, a fundraiser coming up, your golf tournament.
Right.
And you told me the date. And
October the 10th.
October 10th.
Yeah.
So where are you with that? Are you still looking for sponsorships? And how, even if those, and when they get filled, if not, how do people, other than playing in the golf tournament, how can they get involved and make sure, they can donate money and things of that nature?
They can go on cancermanycolors.com and they can see under events, and it would be the 2024 Crishon tournament. And they could pull it up. We have an honor read that we always have one every year. This is Ted Powell. He had prostate cancer, and so we're kind of honoring him. We do it somebody at each tournament every year. But that is the easiest way that I can tell somebody to do that. And we will take them all the way up to the end, right, until I say that we need to cut it. I mean, that's because you got to get to printing, and you've got to do a lot of other things. And then we have on there too a button that says if you want to donate.
Right.
That has nothing to do with the cost. Yes, with the sponsorships. So, but I think that's the easiest way to be able for people to, and then they'll read a little bit more about Cancer Many Colors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you're still looking for sponsorships and teams.
Teams.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
We can take 30 teams. Has 120 people. We have Eggs Up Grill, who is our breakfast supporter, or sponsor, and then we have Daniela is in our BNI, and she is the one that's doing the food after play.
Right.
An Italian with a wooden spoon.
Yes.
And I think you've interviewed her.
I was going to say, we are familiar with her.
Yeah.
And the food is phenomenal.
Yeah. So she is doing that. We have some of the hotels that sponsor some of the tea sponsors. We have a lemonade stand that we put together for the Hilton Garden Inn, and the Doubletree supports it. The Wingate, Jana and them, she's the beverage cart, So, and the Powells, so they're a beverage cart. They sponsor the beverage cart, and then so. This year we're doing cart sponsorships, meaning that'll be little signs. I think I forgot it's 100 or 125 or 150, something like that.
Right.
So my vision is to see all these little cart sponsor signs
right
down the cart paths.
Sure.
And then you have your whole sponsors and that sort of thing. So we take as many as we can.
Right. And where's the tournament played?
It's at Golden Hills Country Club. I've been hosting the tournament there since Jay passed, probably out in 2011 is when I started. So, and that's another story for another day of how when you only have 10 teams versus now you have 30 teams and people waiting.
Talk about a lot of moving parts.
That's a lot. You can't be the happy wagon girl and turn around and be the caterer and be the everything. So
right.
Those were some really workable days.
Yeah, that's hard. A lot of volunteers needed for that day.
Yeah.
So if there's one thing that you would want the people listening to know about Cancer Many Colors, sum it up in a sentence, what would you say? I mean, what would be?
I think that if I was, I can say it, people who have cancer and they go through treatment, I went through treatment. I know how it feels. And I know it takes a good year to be able to just recover through some of that. And then some things you never recover from because you have no idea how that treatment is going to affect your body. So I think that if you could put yourself in their place and know that their basic needs, that is so important for them to be able to come home to. We take it for granted,
Right.
If we can pay it, we pay, and we go on about our business. But for them, it's a struggle, and it adds more pressure to them. So I would rather see them have a roof over their head or utility going on, especially as hot as it is, to have some coolness.
Right.
It is not just a 1 month program for treatment. It's months on end.
Right.
So that is important. It's non-medical. We don't pay medical bills.
Right.
We leave that up to either the insurance companies or the foundations where they're getting the treatments from. But they don't pay basic.
Mm.
You got to live somewhere.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a wonderful thing what you're doing, and I know it came out of a lot of grief that you had to go through and a lot of hardship. But
Right.
I know you've made at least 500 lives a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, but that's our goal.
Yeah.
Is to be able to help those folks that are in need, and it's growing.
Right.
So I hope and pray that we get more awareness out there and more people involved, and to see. I think, like when you're growing up, your parents are the ones, if you're lucky, your parents are the ones that take care of the bills and all that. And then we get to a point where we're really working hard and trying to figure out what we want in life. We have families and we move on. But then you take it for just a minute and you think, there's nobody else to pay that.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah. I think it's a phenomenal thing. I'm like you. I hope that, like you said, doubling up, be able to help more.
Yeah.
But you can only do what you can do. And so,
right.
People need to get involved and
spread the word.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so it is cancerofmanycolors.org. .com. Okay. Couldn't remember.
Yeah.
So cancerofmanycolors.com. Make sure you go on there just to find out any more about it that you'd like. And make sure you, if you're interested in donating or volunteering, if you're here in the area, you can help out on the day of the golf tournament.
Right.
And if you play golf, for heaven's sakes, find a team and sign up.
Yeah, please do.
Right. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with me today, and I hope you enjoyed the show. If you'd like to be a guest on the show or know someone you'd like to see on the show, contact me at forallthingslexington.com. That's the number 4, allthingslexington.com.
For All Things Lexington is brought to you in part by cancerofmanycolors.com, because cancer impacts us all.
And by Angela Barrett at HomeMattersSC.com, building on what matters to you.